The historic city of Syracuse, located on the eastern coast of Sicily, Italy, is facing one of the most devastating floods in recent years. Days of relentless rain have turned this Mediterranean gem into a disaster zone. The sky has remained dark and heavy since early in the week, with flashes of lightning illuminating streets that are now completely submerged. Torrential downpours, exceeding 200 millimeters in less than 48 hours, caused rivers and drainage systems to overflow, flooding homes, roads, and historic landmarks. What was once a lively city filled with tourists and locals enjoying the seaside is now almost unrecognizable under murky, fast-moving water. Major streets such as Corso Gelone, Via Cavour, and Piazza Archimede have turned into raging rivers, carrying debris, tree branches, and even vehicles. Cars were swept away, shopfronts shattered, and sidewalks collapsed under the pressure of the floodwaters. In several neighborhoods, residents climbed onto rooftops or upper floors to escape the rising waters, waving flashlights and calling for help as rescue teams struggled to reach them. The city's power grid has partially collapsed, plunging entire districts into darkness, with only the flashing lights of emergency vehicles breaking through the night. In the coastal area of Ortigia, Syracuse's historic heart, the situation is even more dire. The combination of torrential rain and high tide from the Ionian Sea triggered a dangerous urban flooding phenomenon, submerging ancient stone streets and centuries-old buildings. Restaurants, cafes, and hotels that once bustled with life now stand half-submerged, their furniture and belongings drifting in the floodwaters. Authorities have declared a state of emergency, urging citizens to stay indoors and avoid unnecessary travel. Firefighters, civil protection units, and volunteers are working tirelessly, wading through waist-deep water to evacuate stranded families. Schools, gyms, and community centers have been transformed into temporary shelters. Across social media, haunting videos show residents carrying children through strong currents, clutching their pets and bags of essentials as they search for safety amid the chaos. Once vibrant and filled with Mediterranean charm, Syracuse now lies in silence and ruin. Its ancient streets drowned beneath muddy waters, its people united in fear and resilience, waiting for the storm to pass and hoping the rain will finally stop.
Maria ragazzi, è terribile.
The disaster began quietly on a Wednesday evening when heavy clouds gathered over Syracuse and the eastern coast of Sicily. At first, locals believed it was just another seasonal storm, but within hours, the rain intensified to an unprecedented level. Meteorological agencies recorded more than 200 millimeters of rainfall within 2 days, the equivalent of an entire month's precipitation. Streets that were still dry at midnight had turned into rushing rivers by dawn. Water poured down from the surrounding hills, converging toward the city's lower districts, trapping residents and overwhelming every drainage channel. By Thursday morning, the situation spiraled out of control. Torrents of brown, debris-filled water swept through neighborhoods such as Neapolis, Ortigia, and Grattasanta. Cars parked along the streets began to float, smashing into one another as the current grew stronger. Manholes burst open under pressure, and the city's ancient cobblestone paths crumbled in several areas. Residents reported hearing a roaring sound as the floodwater tore through alleys and basements. Some described the terrifying moment when the force of the water broke through doors and windows, flooding their homes within minutes. Emergency services were quickly overwhelmed. The Protezione Civile, Civil Protection, and Vigile del Fuoco mobilized dozens of rescue teams with inflatable boats, but access to several streets was impossible due to the strong current. Helicopters circled above the city, searching for people stranded on rooftops. Many residents, particularly the elderly, were trapped in upper floors, signaling with flashlights to rescuers below. In one district, firefighters had to break through apartment walls to reach families cornered by floodwaters that had already reached ceiling height. Throughout Thursday night and into Friday morning, the rain showed no sign of stopping. The Ionian Sea grew violent, with powerful waves battering the coastal defenses, worsening the flooding in Ortigia and the harbor area. Local hospitals operated on backup generators, while several schools and municipal buildings were turned into emergency shelters. Volunteers distributed blankets, bottled water, and food as more evacuees arrived soaked and exhausted. The Italian Meteorological Service classified the event as a level red weather emergency, the highest possible alert. Experts said the storm system that hit Sicily was part of a rare metacane, a Mediterranean hurricane fueled by warm sea temperatures. As dawn broke on Friday, the full extent of the destruction became clear. Entire neighborhoods submerged, vehicles piled up like driftwood, and streets coated in layers of mud and debris. Syracuse had endured over 36 hours of unrelenting rainfall, a catastrophe that left the city stunned and struggling to recover from nature's fury. As the rain finally began to subside, Syracuse revealed the full extent of its devastation. Entire districts lay underwater, and once bustling streets were buried beneath thick layers of mud, debris, and broken infrastructure. Dozens of cars lay overturned or piled against walls, while furniture and personal belongings floated aimlessly in what had once been city squares. Although no fatalities had been confirmed at the time of reporting, hundreds of residents were displaced and several sustained injuries from collapsing walls, electrical shocks, and debris carried by the floodwaters. The scale of destruction has been described by local authorities as one of the worst natural disasters to hit the city in decades. The regional government of Sicily promptly declared a state of emergency, mobilizing hundreds of rescue workers, military units, and volunteers to assist in evacuation and cleanup efforts. Temporary shelters were established in schools, churches, and sports centers to accommodate those who had lost their homes. Local officials distributed food supplies, drinking water, and medical aid, while engineers began assessing damage to bridges, roads, and public buildings. The main power grid remained unstable, leaving several areas without electricity for more than 48 hours. And the city's water supply system suffered heavy contamination, forcing authorities to warn residents against using tap water. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni expressed her condolences and pledged immediate national assistance, including financial support for reconstruction and emergency relief funds. The Civil Protection Department deployed heavy machinery to clear blocked roads and remove debris from critical drainage points. Across the country, charities and humanitarian organizations launched donation drives to help those affected. Meanwhile, meteorologists warned that Syracuse's geography and aging drainage infrastructure made it particularly vulnerable to such extreme events, emphasizing the urgent need for long-term climate resilience planning. Environmental experts linked the disaster to the growing frequency of Medicane storms, Mediterranean hurricanes intensified by global warming. They highlighted that rising sea temperatures around Sicily have created conditions similar to tropical cyclones, producing extreme rainfall and wind speeds never before recorded in this region. Scientists and local leaders alike called the event a wake-up call for Italy and the broader Mediterranean, urging immediate investment in sustainable urban drainage systems and coastal defenses. Today, Syracuse stands at a crossroads, a city scarred yet resilient. Residents have begun the slow, painful process of cleaning their homes, salvaging what little remains, and rebuilding their lives from the wreckage. The spirit of solidarity is visible everywhere. Neighbors helping each other, volunteers distributing food, and emergency crews still patrolling flooded streets. Though the waters may have receded, the emotional and economic toll will linger for years, reminding the people of Sicily of nature's unpredictable power and the importance of preparation in an era of changing climate.